New this morning, the FBI just announced it had foiled a planned New Year's Eve terror plot that would have targeted Los Angeles. They've arrested 4 alleged members of a radical pro-Palestinian extremist group. According to the FBI, they were allegedly planning coordinated bombing attacks on New Year's Eve using IEDs. They were targeting 5 separate locations across Los Angeles. Retired 4-star General Jack Keane joins me now. General, you're a military guy, and this is domestic terrorism, but it's frightening for all of us, right?
Yes, certainly, and credit the FBI here. This is masterful work being done to prevent something like that. Yeah. Obviously, they had some penetration in this organization to be able to thwart a plot like that that was in final stages of planning and execution. Congratulations to that. Definitely saving lives for sure. An extremist group, what the media is reporting, they're called the Turtle Island Liberation Front, a pro-Palestinian, anti-government, anti-government ideology as well. And evidently there was another person arrested who's affiliated with this group that was planning an attack in New Orleans also. So yeah, this is the best kind of work we can do. You know, sometimes obviously these attacks get taken down, and then we try to figure out why that happened, and here we've got clear evidence of how to prevent something like that from happening. And listen, the FBI's hands are really full, Stuart. Give them credit here. I mean, the amount of penetration that China is doing every single day in trying to undermine our society through cyber warfare is really quite critical. And also agents penetrating this country. And you add that to domestic terrorism like this, that they have their hands full. So lots of credit here for them.
Next one, General. Ukraine peace talks back underway again in Berlin. Ukraine is offering to drop its demand to join NATO. That would seem like a big concession to me. What say you?
Well, it is, certainly, but it would take some time before they would be granted NATO membership. And what's really on the plate here are the security guarantees. If we have a deal and there's going to be an agreement that the forces will separate and there'll be a ceasefire and the potential for an enduring peace agreement, then the only way that Ukraine can accept that is there has to be security guarantees to prevent and deter Russia from attacking, because we know for a fact that Putin still wants, no matter what he signs, his eventual goal will be to topple the government in Ukraine, put a stooge government in there, and expand into Eastern Europe. Those are his objectives. So security guarantees, and what am I talking about? Likely commanded by the United States, because we're the only country that can do it, and it has to have an air component, a ground component, and a maritime component. Comprehensive security forces in the air, on the ground, and at sea to deter Putin from ever attacking, arm Ukraine to the teeth during that phase, and also reform and rebuild their military so they can begin to stand on their own. Those are the ingredients of comprehensive security guarantees that I'm sure President Zelensky is really insisting on, and particularly after he made this concession.
Is that what we're negotiating then? Will President Trump give the security guarantees to Zelensky that he wants and needs? What's your position on that? Will he give him that support?
I hope he gets that support. Every indication I have in actually talking to the negotiating team is that they are supporting that. And the problem is Russia is likely not going to support it because they don't want any foreign troops on the ground. They don't want anything to deter them from being able to take Ukraine eventually. So it remains to be seen. But the good news here is the United States, Ukraine, and the Europeans are coming to a consolidated agreement. We don't know if it's over. The negotiations in Berlin have ended for the second day, and it's yet to be reported if there is a total agreement among the United States, Ukraine, and the Europeans. I suspect they've made a lot of progress.
Good. Next one, General. President Trump vowed to retaliate after 2 U.S. service members and an American civilian were killed in an ISIS attack in Syria. Here's the president.
I can tell you in Syria, there will be a lot of damage done to the people that did it. They got the individual person, but there'll be big damage done.
What kind of action do you think President Trump will take?
Well, first of all, so our audience understands, President Trump defeated the ISIS regime in terms of being an organization that could attack out of Syria against U.S. interests, either at home or abroad. And that was 2019. And we left a force behind to work with the Syrian Kurds and the Syrian Arabs to make certain that the 5,000 to 7,000 remaining ISIS fighters did not reemerge. And that's what this mission has been about and continues to this day. The good news here, Stuart, is we have now a government that we can work with in al-Sharaa. And it was his security forces that got penetrated here, likely, we understand, by an ISIS member of that security force. That's yet to be determined, but that's what the suspicion is. We know where ISIS is in eastern Syria, and we would likely use airstrikes to go after them. And we also have a capability that we can insert on the ground. But the most likely thing, I think, in the near term would be those airstrikes. We have done that very successfully in the past, and I think we're going to see more of it.
I want to turn to Venezuela. Maduro has warned his supporters to be ready in case the U.S. attacks. General, is President Trump's, is his current strategy basically to strangle Maduro's supply of money from oil sales?
I think that's the step he's taking certainly right now. As you know, there's sanctions already out there. We've taken a tanker. There's more that can be done there. You could actually blockade him. I think he must be encouraged by Machado, who's the opposition leader, went over to get a Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo and left Venezuela under some pretty demanding and challenging conditions. And she is completely supporting President Trump in squeezing Maduro, as you mentioned, his revenue source, number one, is oil, from doing just that, even though she knows that would, in the near term, be more hardship for Venezuelan people. And I think where she's coming from is the Venezuelan people can endure that near-term hardship to get a long-term solution to the agony that they've been going through with this Maduro regime. It's all about pressure. Pressure to do what? Either Maduro to voluntarily leave, Stuart, or the people that are supporting him to force him to leave.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, then the United States has a final option, obviously, to force Maduro to leave and use physical military force to do that.
That's a last resort, maybe. General Jack Keane, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.